welcome to Talking Trades, the weekly podcast. We talk about comics so you don't have to. I'm Jeremy, I'm a DC fan.
And I'm John, a Marvel nut.
And I'm Matt, and I like both.
And we are coming at you pre-recorded, because that's how we do every episode, with Umbrella Academy Dallas Part 2, but it's still the same part.
But it's still Part 1.
Because there's only one part.
What's a wardrobe malfunction with no wardrobe? Malfunction?
I think it's just regular malfunction at that point. Technical difficulties.
All good.
Last week we recorded this episode. Some stuff happened, some things happened, and so we're doing it again, which means that the This Week in Geek is going to be very long because a lot of stuff has been happening.
But what this also means is that we get to have Matt here with us, which we did not have initially.
Hi, Matt.
Hello.
Do you prefer Marvel or DC?
I like both.
Oh, I've heard.
I'll never know the nice things you said about me last week.
Oh, they're gone.
They were so nice. We definitely gave you the winning lotto numbers.
Oh,
too late.
Man.
Now. It's too late now, all of our fan. Hi, Mom and Katie and Grandma. Love you guys. Let's just jump right into This Week in Geek because we got a lot of news.
This Week in Geek.
This Week in Geek, we got the a lot of stuff. Ready Player 2 is happening?
Yep.
Why?
That's a great question.
There's no reason.
There is no reason, which...
I mean, I'm going to buy it.
There's your reason.
I'm going to absolutely read it.
Money, please.
I just... I can't see it following Parzival.
It can't, right?
Because their story wrapped up
perfectly.
Right? Like, I'd be absolutely okay with another story set in the Oasis with completely different characters after the events of book 1, and they have their own thing. I'd be okay with that. I can already guarantee you this book will have more Rush in it than the movie. I'm still bitter about that, and I'm never going to change.
I wonder if it's going to be like an Ender's Shadow thing where it's like a side character from the first book.
That would be cool.
Like Dido and Shoto would be cool.
I'd like to think that being a called Ready Player 2, it could be just a new story entirely in the universe.
Yeah. That's kind of what I'm hoping, is something just completely set apart from the first book, from that first story and stuff like that.
I just want more dumb references that are completely unnecessary and don't help the plot at all, but I get to go, I like that thing too.
Easter eggs, the movie.
Oh yeah, that's all it is. I don't care what anybody says. I know it's not like a phenomenally written book. I have read that book 3 times and I've enjoyed it 3 times, and I like the movie too. Yeah,
the book is super duper. I wish I read it after I saw the movie. I don't think I would have been as disappointed.
Yeah, that's like your thing. Like
that's almost every book and movie.
Yeah. And at this point, that's how it's going to be with me and Dune, because I can't.
Dude, it's not a great read. It's a phenomenally written story. The prose is really good. The characters are all like super interesting, but it's just like, I don't care about the spice trade on Arrakis at all.
That's kind of how I feel about specifically Fellowship of the Ring.
That book's okay. I'm gonna hot take. That book sucks.
It's a slog. I'm sorry. I'm gonna
hot take it. I hate that book. I love all of those characters. I love it all. Hate that book.
I have attempted to read that book, and I can't do Tolkien. That's
No, he's dense, man. He's a dense writer. But dude, I can't. I tried to read it. I tried to audiobook it. I was like, I hate this a lot. And so I'm out. Here's my thing. Those movies are phenomenal, and I love them, and I'm just going to stick with the movies.
Yeah, that's kind of my plan on at least the Lord of the Rings part.
Yeah, I read The Hobbit. I love The Hobbit. But that one was written much simpler. And doesn't have I feel like I was reading a Dostoevsky book when I was reading Tolkien.
I love, because I think the publisher asked him for a sequel to The Hobbit, and he's like, okay, it's going to be really long.
I'm going to do
Like
all the
really
things I
long.
wanted to do. Yeah. Speaking of really long, this segment, what's our next bit of news?
The Margot Robbie, the Birds of Prey sequel has been canceled.
To the cries of literally 4 people.
I'm one of them. I'm very sad.
Same, dude. But are you shocked?
I'm not shocked. I'm just disappointed.
That same, dude. Absolutely same. I was really hoping for another. That doesn't mean she can't be in more movies, but like, I wanted
No,
that.
she's going to be in more movies, but are the Birds of Prey going to pop up ever again? Who's to say?
I hope so.
I hope so. What just really drives me nuts about this is how good that movie is and how few people saw it.
Yeah, it's a really
I
good
don't
movie.
know how much of that you can argue is the R rating.
Mm-hmm.
That and the marketing and Suicide Squad. People were burned by Suicide Squad.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, you remember, I didn't want to let myself get hyped for that movie, but it just looked so good, and it was. And Birds of Prey was so good.
Yeah, it was super fun.
I let myself down with Suicide Squad. I got all aboard that hype train, and oh man, it crashed like 8 miles from the station.
Some would say that people got in the train and then the train just fell over in the station.
And the wheels all fell off the train.
Like you never went anywhere.
Train was advertised near perfectly, but then when it came to time to start, it didn't start.
Yeah, but Birds of Prey, if you haven't seen it, is wonderful. It's all the fun Suicide Squad wanted to have.
Yeah, and someone bought that for me for my birthday.
Mm-hmm. It me.
And it was John.
It was me. But yeah, sometimes the answer is a longer cut of a movie, like maybe the Schumacher cut of Batman Forever.
That's not it.
No,
No, wouldn't have saved it.
but apparently it exists.
It does exist.
100,
Do not-
almost 3 hours, almost 3 hours of Batman Forever.
God. No.
Yep. And it's supposed to be a almost different tone. It's much darker, more serious
Uh-huh.
film.
No,
Here's
thank
the
you.
I don't want
It's
a
odd.
more serious movie with a 90s Jim Carrey. Throwing
No.
that out there.
That's fair.
Like, that's not what anyone's here for.
No. Tommy Lee Jones is a serious actor. Val Kilmer's a serious actor. Jim Carrey, at that time, was
At
the
that time,
farthest
no
thing
way.
from a serious actor.
Yeah, Majestic was still a good, 7-8 years off.
Mhm.
That's a good movie.
Yeah, it's very good.
Yeah, I enjoyed that movie.
Big fan.
Eternal Sunshine might have come first. I don't remember. The point is,
Eternal
We're
Sunshine
not-
was much later.
okay. The point is, we're well before either of those more dramatic roles.
I don't want to see it. Thank
You don't
God I
have to, because I don't know that it's ever coming out. Currently, there is no
Nope.
plans. Because
What is
no
coming
one
out?
saw the movie and was like, you know what? We should add 40 minutes.
No. What is coming out is Wonder Woman 1984, and we got a poster with Cheetah on it. And
Yes.
we've seen Funko Pops, we've seen some pictures. There's also an image released from like a Taiwanese site or something like that with a shirt
But
advertising.
none of these had the actual Kirsten Wiig in makeup.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, Kristen Wiig looks phenomenal in this makeup, as far as I can tell.
Yeah, it's kind of
Very excited.
not in focus, and
Yeah.
you
It's like a
see
3D
two
image.
of her. Yeah, it's a weird. It's very 80s, and like I knocked out of the park for that, for like the feel. But I still would like to see her. I think it looks great. I think it looks as great as Cheetah can look,
Mm-hmm.
because Cheetah is a goofy concept. Period.
Yep.
So I think it looks as good as it can look.
Yeah, her name is literally Minerva. Like,
Mhm.
like it's nail head. Boom. What's in your
Does
hand?
Minerva
These are just
mean
my
cheetah?
hands. These are super heavy. What?
Does Minerva mean cheetah?
No, but it's just like a Greek. Minerva's one of the Roman gods for something. It's just like the naming conventions for this were like back in the day, just very like she besmirched the gods, and her name's also Minerva. And I think one of the one of the goddesses of wisdom or something in the Roman. It's like, dude, stop. Early
Yeah, that'd
comic
make-
book gaming was bad.
That would make her the Athena.
Is that what it is?
If it's wisdom, because Athena is wisdom.
I know Athena. I don't remember what Minerva is.
I only learned Greek and I never learned Roman, I guess.
All I'm saying is the only Minerva I like is McGonagall.
And she is a goddess in and of herself.
No. She is the goddess. She rules all of Harry
excuse me.
Potter Kingdom. Dumbledore is a footnote in her story, if you ask me. That's an origin story I want. That's a movie I want.
That's a movie
McGonagall?
I think a lot of
It's a
people
McGonagall
want
movie.
is a McGonagall movie.
An audience
I
of
would be
one.
into
Let's
it.
go.
Moving on, some positive from last year. Comic sales
Yes.
topped off for the first time in the highest has been at least since 2011 at $1.21 billion in sales. That is combined with print and digital download. So if anybody ever likes to say that no one's reading comics anymore, lol.
I believe that's got to be an all-time high.
Yeah, it's super high.
Because 2012 is
the chart that I
805 million,
have-
and I doubt there was that steep of a drop-off from 2011.
Yeah. Our chart only goes back to 2012. Obviously, if we wanted to look more into it, but
Maybe
still.
adjusted with inflation. You get some
Mhm.
years in like the golden age, but like even that, like the golden age was the golden age for a reason.
right.
Like people are saying now, like people aren't reading comics. No, comics industry is huge right now.
What's noteworthy is this does include both print and digital.
Mm-hmm.
So print may be going down, digital may be going up. The chart doesn't divulge that information.
It wouldn't shock me if we see an all digital model in the next 5 years.
But if
Yeah.
the comics are any kind of parallel to, for example, video games or music or movies, like everything is moving in the direction of digital.
Except for
Comics-
novels.
Yeah.
Novels are
Yeah.
moving back to physical for some reason.
I mean, vinyl's like a thing too, you know?
Yeah.
People just like
Absolutely.
it.
Yeah, vinyl's great.
Your sister just got some vinyl.
I have a strong
Yes.
collection of vinyl. And then with novels, like it makes sense. Like no one likes to see an empty bookshelf. You know
No.
what I mean?
Oh no. I'm looking at my bookshelf and it's filled to the brim, and I love it.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, mine's got video games, but I still love it. There's a
Same
couple
thing.
books.
Same concept.
There's Ready Player One on that bookshelf. Have I read it? No. But it's there. It's hanging
It's a
out.
good book. It's not a good book, but it's a book I enjoy.
Right next
It
to
is a-
Assassin's Creed Heresy, another book I don't know that I'll ever read.
Speaking of heresy, they want to change the title of Captain America: Civil War.
Yeah, this is a whole mess. Like, I
The
understand.
internet, calm down, man.
I understand a lot of like getting rid of Aunt Jemima, for example.
Yeah.
Totally get that. Absolutely.
Absolutely.
100%. The problem is there's a movement to get rid of, to at least change the title of Captain America Civil War because it references the American Civil War, which of course was fought over slavery.
But here's the thing, John. What is the literal definition of a civil war?
A civil war is when a country is at war with itself. The
And in that
American
movie-
Civil War is not. It's not even the first Civil War.
I was going to say the American Civil War was not. It's called the American Civil War because there was other civil wars.
Yes, and there
It's
have
just a
been
term.
other civil wars.
It's just a term.
The term itself has nothing to do with slavery. The comic event the movie is based on has nothing to do with slavery. The
it's a country
movie
divided.
itself has nothing to do with slavery. Like it's just all. It is a country against itself. It is the Avengers against themselves. That's the whole point of the event and the movie.
Mm-hmm.
This movement is stupid, and I disagree with it.
There are a lot of reasons in the world to be righteously outraged. I personally do not believe this is one of them.
Here's the problem: if you want to change something that says Civil War in it, get rid of Civil War 2.
Yeah,
Hey,
it
bingo cards, folks. It's been mentioned on the podcast again.
does not hold a candle to the original.
Sand, H2O, not so much anymore. And now Civil War 2 is our current running joke. Oh, and Ang Lee's Hulk.
Of course. How can we forget?
Mm-hmm.
One commenter said we should forget on iTunes reviews.
I mean,
So
you
that
know,
our commentary was obnoxious. So, but that movie's obnoxious. So I don't know what you want me to do.
we also know what we were getting into with that, to be honest. Like, you ever tried to fill like 2 hours? Not easy.
That movie's so long. But yeah, the Civil
Yeah.
War. Stop trying to cancel Civil War for no reason. There's other stuff that needs to actually get canceled, and you're fighting this stupid battle.
Yeah, agreed.
Like the cops who killed Breonna Taylor are still out and about,
Mhm.
or they still haven't been charged. Like, why is that not? Why is the Civil War thing trending and that's not trending anymore?
People are losing their jobs for significantly less than killing someone
Yeah,
in their own home
for no
while they
reason.
were asleep.
I've said it once. I'll say it again. Arrest the cops that killed Breonna Taylor.
100%.
Uh,
There's no way to transition. There's a
I
new
was
Star
gonna
Wars
say.
animated series coming out.
Yep, the
which
Bad
looks like it says a
Batch.
swear word.
Yep.
It does. I've
I
read it a few
read-
times.
I read bad B word here. The first 4, I was like, I can't believe. I was like, this is photoshopped or something, right? I was like, no,
I
it's
would be
real. What
so
the heck?
in for that Star Wars,
Who
the
would
bad
be-
bee. Like, I'd be so
Who
in
would
for
be
that.
the bad B in Apartment 23?
Great question. Who would Kristen
say
Wiig
Ahsoka.
play?
I gotta go with
Ahsoka was my guess, but I think that if it's going to be bad, that should be like,
Well, it could be
what's
like-
it, Ventress? Something like that.
Ventress is dead.
Who knows when this takes place?
After the Clone Wars, it says.
Yeah, these are
Post Clone Wars show.
Well, that's a who's that's it.
So Ahsoka makes sense. Matt, what do you think?
I would go with the blacksmith from The Mandalorian.
Okay.
That
That'd be
girl,
cool.
She bad.
Maybe if she was in Death Watch.
Maybe.
Have you guys watched Clone Wars?
No.
No.
Oh, so there's a whole subplot in that runs through like the entirety of Clone Wars, technically with the Mandalorians. And Mandalore is like a super peaceful planet now. Blah blah blah. They gotten rid of their war ways, but there's a group called Death Watch who are like, we want to bring it back to old Mandalore. We want to kill people. We want to be bad guys. And there's some women in Death Watch, and maybe she's in Death Watch, and like they spin her off, and that's how she becomes like the armorer. That'd be cool.
Yeah, it would be, but unfortunately, Bad Batch is actually about a group of clone soldiers who
Oh,
they like their
So
cloning
stuff has come to
process-
light for this.
Yeah, their cloning
Okay.
process wasn't the same. All the other clones are really, really good at a lot of things. These group, I think, of 5 clones are super good at one specific task. So one
Each?
could be like, each. So like one's like a really good pilot, one's like a really good shot.
so they're a poorly managed D&D team.
essentially it's what that is. Where they're
I
I know
love
that too well.
just a
love
whole group of min-maxers, but as
God.
clone soldiers. So
We
that's
got
what
3
the
glass
Bad Batch is
cannons.
going to be.
Yeah, when we see it, it's going down.
I'm excited for this. More Star Wars.
Yeah.
More Star Wars, more Spider-Man.
More Spider-Men.
Reportedly, there are talks to get not only Tom Holland, not only Tobey Maguire, but also Andrew Garfield together for a live-action Spider-Verse.
So the best Peter Parker Spider-Man combo, the best Peter Parker terrible Spider-Man combo, and the best Spider-Man terrible Peter Parker combo, all mixed together.
All
Yep.
together.
The only thing you're missing is a live-action Miles Morales. Oh wait, no, Donald Glover is ready to go. Let's go.
Yeah. Give
He
me
is,
that old
he is the
Miles.
Prowler in the MCU.
He is the Prowler in the MCU.
Yeah, but like this could be the Sony you. It's fine. Recast him. I'll be okay with it. I'll retcon it for you.
But,
I
like, can you
want it.
imagine this happening?
That'd be so cool.
That'd be
like-
so much fun.
What a
Andrew
time,
Garfield
guys.
doesn't get to take his mask off the whole
That
movie.
is like
though.
a possibility.
Hmm.
Tobey Maguire doesn't put on the suit. Andrew Garfield doesn't take off the suit, and Tom Holland is topless the whole movie.
These are weird
I just
demands,
sold
but I'll
1,000
sign.
Tickets. I just sold 1,000 tickets by myself. You're welcome, Sony.
Yeah. Tom Holland is the Spider-Man, the last spider suit that you get in Spider-Man PS4, where it's just the mask and undies.
Oh yeah.
So I hope this happens. I also hope this is not only a compromise, but also a way that makes sense to get Tom Holland Spider-Man to organically exit the MCU, other than we just stop talking about this character,
Yeah.
because that would be excellent. That could happen. And then you can put him in the Morbius, Venomverse, whatever you're calling it. and go on from there. Because Tom Holland as Spider-Man prints way too much money not to pursue more of.
Yeah, agreed. He's fantastic.
I just hope if this timeline transpires, they don't sacrifice on script writing, because there is a league of difference from Homecoming to Venom. Like there's
Yes.
a vast ocean difference of quality between the two.
You're absolutely right. I enjoyed both movies.
Right, but
Homecoming is
it's
fantastic.
easy. Which script is better? And it's not even
Homecoming.
close.
By a lot. You're telling me tater tots and chocolate don't work for you, John?
Okay.
I'm not saying they do. I'm not saying they don't, but they're also like not fine dining. You know what I mean? Like this, tater tots are great, not fine dining.
So I know we've read Batman here specifically. We've read Tom King's Batman. Tom
Yes.
King is going to be taking over a new book at DC. He is going to be writing Rorschach, which is very exciting. I can't wait. I love Rorschach. Anybody who watches or read The Watchmen enjoys Rorschach.
Does this take
fun.
place before Watchmen, or does this take place after?
After he dies.
Let me.
Well, I mean, he's in the Doomsday Clock, but it's a different
Mhm.
Rorschach. So is it that character, or is it the Rorschach from Watchmen?
Let's see here. Set 35 years after the end of the original Watchmen limited series, and Rorschach
So it's
at
the
the
new
hands
guy.
of Dr. Manhattan. The 12-issue Rorschach
God,
series
spoilers.
opens up with a world which has distrust in superheroes, but celebrates Rorschach as a cultural icon due to his actions in the original volume. So
I think it's, if not, I never finished Doomsday Clock, so I don't know if he makes it, but there is a new Rorschach.
there is a new Rorschach in Doomsday Clock. I also did not finish it. That's
I
something
never
that
started it.
I'm sure that's.
I
something that we're
blame the
eventually
horrible release schedule.
Yeah,
That's
I feel
exactly
like
right.
That's something we'll read. Let's see,
Book is way too
continuing.
dense for one installment every 2 months ish.
Yep.
So what does it mean when Rorschach reappears as part of a pair of assassins trying to kill the first candidate to oppose President Robert Redford in decades? Reads DC's synopsis for the series.
Whoa.
President Robert Redford.
Whoa.
You heard
What?
that right.
We glossed right over that.
Robert Redford, the actor?
That's what I'm guessing.
I guess it's not that far fetched. Ronald Reagan was president.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Follow-
that actually tracks really well.
Yeah. Follow one determined detective as he walks backward in time, uncovering the identities and motives of the would-be killers, taking him deep into a dark conspiracy of alien invasions, disgraced do-gooders, mystical visions, and yes, comic books. So that is the synopsis of this Rorschach comic.
Interesting. I went from not being sold to wanting to buy it now.
That's how they get you.
That's
I still
how
got
they
to
get
Doomsday
ya.
Clock.
Yeah, I feel like that's something that we'll eventually cover on here now that
Is
it's all released. I mean, we talk about it all.
I gotta hurry up then. What's really important is that's all well and good. But American Vampire is coming back.
Yeah, it is.
Written
Who
by
is
Scott
American
Snyder.
Vampire?
The original team is coming back from American Vampire. So American Vampire was like Scott Snyder's first big DC property that he did. It was all original. He worked on this, I want to say, concurrently with writing the back half stories for a Batman series for a while for Detective Comics. Like he was like the end writer for like the 3 or 4 page stories at the end of Detective Comics for a while. Then he went to write Black Mirror, but he was doing American Vampire too. But American Vampire is his IP, and so now it's coming back again, and people are super hype. And I think is it under Black Label or is it just under regular DC?
Black
I
Label.
think it's under Black Label. Yeah,
It's gonna be. Yeah, it's under Black Label. Sweet. But Raphael Albuquerque's coming back to do the art. He does phenomenal art for this book. This is a really interesting book. From what I've seen of it, the art is beautiful, and it's Scott Snyder, so you know the story's good.
Mhm.
But we should cover it on here eventually.
Yeah, absolutely.
I'd be super down for that.
Another quick bit. We have new pages on Disney Plus for the 3 announced live action shows: Loki, WandaVision, and Falcon Winter Soldier.
technically means nothing, but like it means that it's happening sooner rather than
It
later. I'm very
means
excited.
that it isn't not happening.
Yes.
That's
They don't
I
make
think
landing
more
pages
accurate.
for things that are maybes.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So they're committing. However, looks like WandaVision has reportedly been delayed to the spring, which like I get it.
Yeah, it makes sense.
From
What else just got delayed?
from when they
Tenet got
announced
delayed.
it, it sounds like they want that it sounds like WandaVision was always designed and concepted to lead into Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness.
Mhm.
So I think that as they evaluate their movie schedule, WandaVision would kind of shift to accommodate that.
Yeah,
That makes sense.
yeah, that makes sense.
Tenet also got delayed recently
Yes,
as
it
well.
did. I was
Oh, did it?
Indefinitely.
I was
Indefinitely.
sad.
Indefinitely.
Hashtag darkest timeline.
Christopher Nolan is very mad, I'm sure.
Well,
I
he was
imagine.
very extremely vocal of everyone in July needs to see Tenet in July in a theater in July.
Mhm.
Like he was starting a whole movement to get filmmakers and actors to the whole thing was like they started a campaign to get people to go to the theaters in July. And
Yeah,
it's like, bud,
there's only so
listen,
much we can do.
you're very talented, but you got to come down from your Ivy Tower to get groceries sometime.
Hmm.
Like, it's a mess out there. We can't have people just going to a theater.
Unless they live in, New Zealand, where it's
Where their government listens
Where it's
to
fine.
the
New
scientists.
Zealand's fine. Japan is fine.
Everywhere but here. Because we don't listen to
USA.
science.
If you're
It's
not
okay, though,
first,
'cause
you're
we also
last,
can't go there.
USA.
We're stuck.
Yeah, Canada closes borders. When Canada and Mexico, they both close their borders on us. Guys, if everyone you run into, okay, so if you run into one jerk, right, then you ran into one jerk. But if everyone you keep running into is a jerk, maybe you're the jerk. We keep running into all these jerk countries. Maybe we're the jerks. And I say maybe. Spoiler, we're the jerks.
No, it is the children who are wrong. Speaking of
We're a whole country of
dystopian
skinners.
apocalyptic futures, there is going to be a new Killjoys comic series coming from Gerard Way,
Mhm.
which I'm very excited about.
When was this?
Today.
Oh, cool.
Today.
Today, of course, being the 21st of July.
Of course,
Yes.
no other. But the
I
initial
honestly
run
forgot what
was,
that
I
was.
believe, 5 issues, and that was in 2010.
Mhm.
Just after the album of the same name, Danger Days, True Lies of Fabulous Killjoys. And this is coming out, I believe, next year, which is written by Way and Simon. It's called True Lies of Fabulous Killjoys National Anthem. It'll be a 6-part limited series, and it'll tell the stories of the Killjoys from the 1990s and 2000s. So before the apocalyptic landscape of the album and the first comic. I am very excited and cannot wait, and I want to buy this now immediately.
Yeah.
But I can't. But they're also re-releasing
that.
the original series
Yeah.
in a hardcover called California.
Neat. Going off of John, off of other household names that we hold near and dear to our hearts making comics, the man, the myth, the legend, the
Let's
Ageless.
talk about Gerard Way.
the ageless wonder that is Keanu Reeves is writing a comic. And
Oh, yeah?
I am so into it.
Do we have
Just
any
call your
info
breath
whatsoever?
No, a friend sent a link or a picture to Jeremy and I, and it just says that he's working on a comic. Doesn't really go into what. All we know is that the man himself, the most breathtaking man in the world, Keanu Reeves, is in fact
Well,
Breathtaking.
writing a comic, and I could not be more excited. He's probably
I'll be
gonna do
more
great
excited
at
when
that.
it's like announced and we hear something about it.
Yeah.
Because as it stands, it could go nowhere. Who's to say? I'm sure it'll come out. I'm sure it'll be great. But when it gets like announced, I'll be much more excited for it.
I'm into all of the news today, except for cancel Civil War, because that's dumb. With that in mind, let's just jump right into let's just jump right into it. YouTube transitions here to the post. No, stop. It's
in
not
my head.
it's not the Gerard Way cast. Now let's go talk about what Gerard Way wrote.
For the back half, all Gerard Way all the time.
And the pull list.
Here's your pull list.
This week on the pull list, we are reading Umbrella Academy 2, Dallas, written by Gerard Way and drawn by Gabriel Ba. Based on the wonderful minds of Gerard Way and Gabriel Ba, the show, season 1's already out. Season 2 should be out by the time this episode is up. John,
Jeremy?
for those who may not remember the first volume, because it's been a while, why don't you quickly regale us on who these chillins are while I throw away my garbage?
Absolutely. You should take out your garbage. The first run is called The Apocalypse Suite, and in it we are introduced to the Umbrella Academy. The Umbrella Academy are a group of 7 children, all born on the same day, whose mothers were not pregnant when that day began. They all have wonderful powers, except for seemingly one of them, Vanya, number 7. And to wrap this up very, very tightly, her power comes to form much later in life, where there's an organization called the it's in here. No, it's not the organization. The Orchestra of the Damned, I think. Orchestra Verd Campton, something in German, something like that. And by having her perform a piece of music called the Apocalypse Suite will bring about massive destruction. The Umbrella Academy, who all their lives thought she was normal and had no powers, unite after their father's death to stop it. It's similar to Dark Phoenix. It's easily inspired by Dark Phoenix. And that's in doing so, one of them, number 4, the Rumor, uses her, not number 4, but anyway, the Rumor, whose power comes from vocal cords, are slashed and destroyed at the end of that. And 7 herself is left with amnesia, and she's completely bedridden, can't really do much.
Almost a vegetative state.
Pretty much, yeah. She can talk and communicate, which is interesting, but yeah, she doesn't remember a thing. And that is to very gloss over a ton of the original. But that's it.
So this one opens up with some stuff going on.
Since we did read this for the podcast as well last week, I'm going to tell you all right now, there's going to be a lot of comparisons to the Netflix series. It's going to happen.
So the Netflix series, the first season of the Netflix series kind of takes the first arc and the second arc and kind of goes boom, and they push it together. But the
form something magnificent if you've seen them.
Season 2 of the show appears to have even more of the stuff from the Dallas arc in the show, which is interesting.
Which I'm very excited and impressed by.
Now, John, last week when we read this and we talked about this, the thing that came up at the very end was, Jeremy, did you like it? Because coming into this, Matt and I are both, how did I say it last week? We're not fans of the JFK assassination, but that time frame, that time of U.S. history is very interesting. And one of my favorite Stephen King books. Yeah, I agree with Matt. We're intrigued by it. It's not that we like that it happened. It's all the stuff that's around it is very interesting. And this book touches on it very briefly, but it's not the main focus. And John, I know you said you're like, oh, I was a little worried.
What I was also concerned about is your favorite parts of the show of season 1 are in Dallas, but they do not get anywhere near the attention they get in the show.
No. The best part of the show, in my personal opinion, is the Klaus arc where he goes to Vietnam and comes back a totally different person. And it's just
Klaus goes to Vietnam, but
it's kissed. It's just briefly kissed in this.
Yeah.
And you don't really see it. So it is what it is. But very interested. I was very interested to read this book anyway. And even without having all of the stuff that I love from the show in this book, the book is still great. But let's actually just start talking about the book. So the book opens up with everyone kind of going about their day in the post-apocalyptic town that they live in, Townsville.
Well, it opens up in the past with an older, a gray John F. Kennedy as president.
Yes, that's right.
Having a discussion with Hargreaves, who is their father, who went around to adopt / acquire the children when he found out these weird circumstances about their birth. One goes deeper into it, the chapter 1, and he's talking about these. He's like, yeah, the Umbrella Academy can definitely solve your situation, but about those nuclear missiles,
which is never a good thing.
no, it's not. And Volume 2 begins much like Volume 1 with the Umbrella Academy attacking a monument come to life.
Mm-hmm.
Which is, so they're attacking the Lincoln Memorial. The Lincoln Memorial is like stepped up and is attacking them. And Rumor, she uses her power to say, I heard a rumor that you were assassinated. And out of nowhere, a stone John Wilkes Booth comes in and shoots the stone president. This John Wilkes Booth statue doesn't exist. So
it's also exactly to scale and in the same style.
It's the best. It's so crazy. It's so bonkers.
Yeah, Rumor's power. Allison from the show, she can say, I heard a rumor, and then whatever she says, her power will make it true. It'll make it so.
So if she says something that's against the like laws of physics, it has to become a fact. It's insane.
Yep.
It's so crazy. The conservation of matter would say that this statue had to exist somewhere, right?
Well, the stones could have existed, and they could have
but like
assembled.
But how about the energy to assemble them? Like you can't just come from nowhere. Like Carl Sagan says,
Wind?
if you wish to make an apple pie from scratch, you must first create the universe. It's just crazy. I love it so much. I'm a huge fan of this. This is a great. What? You never heard that?
No.
He says that. So like you can't make anything.
Apples.
You can't make anything from scratch because it already exists. Everything already exists.
Mm-hmm.
So he says, if you want to make an apple pie from scratch, you must first create the universe.
Huh.
It's a real quote. Yeah.
It makes
Carl
sense.
Sagan was the man.
It's a concept I'd never thought of before.
Yeah, well, because we're not Carl Sagan.
No, but also it's just so high concept.
What happens next?
So after the statue is assassinated, much like the real Lincoln was assassinated, the group wants ice cream, but Hargreaves is like, no. Dude, not ice cream, not today.
Monster.
And then we go forward to the future, where the Umbrella Academy lays in ruins from the events of Apocalypse Suite.
Yes.
But underneath it, there appears to be a bunker, and that's where the leader, Space Boy, has been kind of hanging out.
And kind of getting fat.
Eating nothing but cookies, and putting on a substantial amount of weight.
He's a big boy.
He is a big boy. So they're all looking for Five. In the show, Five is kind of like X-Men's Blink, where he can where he can just like kind of pop in and out, jump forward.
Yep.
In here, you can do the same, but it's a little different. Anyway, everyone's looking for Five. Five disappeared. He also was missing for forever, then came back for Apocalypse Suite. Now he's missing again. Who knows where he is? So we get to see a snapshot of where the rest of the team is at this point. Seance is getting his nails and his hair did. And looks...
I mentioned this the last time we did this, and I want to mention it again.
So different from Klaus in the show.
Yeah, absolutely.
So
he
different.
looks exactly like Neil Gaiman's Sandman, exactly like Sandman in this part, with his hair all disheveled. And it's interesting because the intro to the book, the forward, is written by Neil Gaiman. So we were talking about this last week, John. We were saying, like, I feel like Neil Gaiman and Gerard Way have to be friends, right?
I imagine,
at least in some capacity at this point. Like, that seems like a nod to Neil Gaiman.
Yeah. The character model itself is like stone chalk white. Like
almost to the point of being blue or purple.
Like almost like a skeleton. Yeah, like white. With black hair, black everything. Then a bright Hawaiian shirt to top it off.
It's great.
It's great.
I love the aesthetic.
Rumor is checking in on the white violin. If you've seen the show goes by their names. The comics heavily use their code names, way more so than their actual names.
Yes.
So Rumor is Allison, and the white violin is Vanya. Also in the show, Allison is an actress. In this one, she's more of a detective. Communicates with Vanya through Notepad, and this is where you learn that she left amnesiac and does not understand what's going on. So upon discovering this, Rumor is like in her wheelchair, takes her, puts her in front of an entire wall of TVs that are displaying nothing but the fallout of the Apocalypse Suite incident. To hopefully have her see, oh, I did this.
I totally forgot what she did. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's pretty harsh, but like, I get it.
I totally get it. Totally get it. And then we cut to Diego, who's trying to get some information.
Who is nothing like his show counterpart.
No. So Kraken Diego is my least favorite in the comics, and I believe my favorite in the show. He got such a glow up from one to the other. It's insane.
Yeah. He's got, this one also has like kind of Ben's power too, right?
Yeah,
like,
Ben
does like
not really appear in the comic at all.
Yeah. So he's being a detective, and he's sitting in the he's beating up this like small time crook, and he's doing kind of the Batman thing where he's like, "Tell me the information, I'll break all your bones." He gives him the information, "Just break all your bones." I'm not wearing hockey pads. It's pretty perfect. He's kind of, this kind of shows he's more of a hard-nosed detective he's a pretty hard-nosed detective in the show, but like he's just so different in this comic that he is in the show.
He's so less likable and much more one-dimensional, I feel, in the comic.
Yes. The show does a great job of making him a person with the mom storyline. And this one does not touch that at all, which is fine. It is what it is.
The mom storyline and showing that he's willing to help Klaus. There's just a lot of different moments in the show that the comic just doesn't have or have the time to have.
Yes, very much so. So he's looking for information on a small boy, 5, his brother. And the guy gives him what little information he has, and then we cut to he breaks his arm. He's like, he's just in bed. I'm basically Batman, but like the bad, problematic parts.
Yeah,
of
it's like, listen, you're going to tell me the info. You just get to choose how many bones are going to be broken.
Yeah, exactly. So he does that, and then you cut to 5 at a racetrack, at like a stereotypical dog racetrack. He's betting on the dogs, and he loses, and he goes, there goes all the money. And I just imagine him talking like a 75-year-old smoker.
But like a 10-year-old.
But with a 10-year-old. Yeah, he has it's a tiny little boy body. And he's walking out of the racetrack, and he gets stopped by a bunch of guys. And so the group that they work for is Tempest.
Tom Saturnalis, which is, we looked it up last week. It's Time Eternal.
Time Eternal. But all their shirts say Temps on them. TEMPS.
It's beautiful.
So they're super expendable. You don't see their faces. They're wearing like those stereotypical, they're very loud colors, red and yellow. Like they're very identifiable. They're
the reddest of red shirts.
It's cannon fodder. And so,
which is a Star Trek joke.
They're like, drag it home. Oh God. Better ruin our podcast, John. So they're like, hey, we're going to take you in 5. And he's like, oh, all I see around me is dead men. And he just goes insane and kills all these guys very easily. But what's interesting is he uses an AK-47. And if Modern Warfare 2 taught me anything, an AK-47 has a lot of kickback, and it's very hard to hit every single shot with that.
In any shooting game ever. Like,
yeah. He kills every guy using 1 bullet per guy, essentially. No bullet misses its target. There's not a stray bullet left, which is very interesting. And that will come into play in just a minute here. But he kills them all, and he's just like, I got them all. And then one guy's half left alive. He's like, send in Hazel and Cha-Cha. And 5 goes, oh, God, no!
We're already dead.
Apparently, it's very bad. And we'll see in a minute here, Hazel and Cha-Cha are very scary. Way scarier than they were in the show.
The show also changes Hazel and Cha-Cha.
Makes them both,
like, for example,
a man and a woman too.
Yes, but also in the comic, Hazel is the one with the pink dog head, and then Cha-Cha is the one with the taller blue bear head.
Yes, that's right. It's interesting in the comic, you can't tell like exactly what gender they are. They're just kind of androgynous, potential more than likely men, but like it doesn't really matter. But they are stone cold sociopaths, and they scare me real bad.
Nice touch here is that the waitress of this diner we meet them at is named Agnes, and she was a huge character in the series. But it's a nice nod that it's that same character.
So yeah, so they're introduced by going to this diner, and they're like, "Oh man, what's in this pie?" And the guy walks out and says, "Oh, you'd have to cut off my arms and legs for me to tell you that." And then it says
there's just a panel of them, just like silence.
So ... and then they're doing that. It's really scary.
And they go into a huge, like Kevin Smith style diatribe on Girl Scout cookies, legally distinct Girl Scout cookies. And how you should be wearing the uniform. It's part of the whole thing.
Yeah.
It's great.
And the guy's just sitting there bleeding out from his arm and leg stumps. And he goes, "It's canned apples. We use canned apples." And they're like, "What are you talking about?" Because they have moved on 16 different conversations. Now they're just killing for the hell of it. And it's, oh my God, they're so scary.
And the whole time, like they're cleaning off their tools from the blood, cleaning up the mess they made. But ridiculous.
And I don't like it.
Ridiculous. There is a plot we're going to skip entirely over about a corporate takeover that goes nowhere within this trade. Just a heads up. We're just going to skip over it.
Yep.
And then we get to the police headquarters. So in this world, there are chimps, apes who can talk and live lives and wear clothes and have jobs. It's a thing. We're just going to go past it.
Yeah. Nothing.
Gotta set that scene.
It is what it is.
There's an inspector who comes to his office, and Diego is already there in his chair, trying to get information on 5. He finds photos from the racetrack, presumably of 5. And he's asked how his sister is. And Diego's like, paralyzed amnesiac. The other one will talk your ear off. Wink. Literally, she'll do it.
Yeah. It's not great.
It's not great. So they ask about the little bro.
Yeah.
Not the pale one.
How do you know about him? Well, because he shot a bunch of people, which is insane. That's crazy. I'll see you later. I'm going to go look for him.
It was an AK-47 and no bullets were met.
Oh my God. That's impossible. That's my little brother, Fav. It's, as far as like weird, stupid character moments go, I like this one.
Yeah.
The one that we've made up completely in our heads that doesn't actually exist.
Well, I mean, I think I don't love Kraken in this show is that
he sucks.
What I love about Umbrella Academy is the interesting and atypical style choices, the anachronistic just things in the world, quirky things that wouldn't appear, and Kraken is just so serious and plays into none of that.
Yes.
I think is my personal reason why I don't love Kraken in the comic.
I think the thing that makes the show perfect is the closing to the first episode with the "Think We're Alone Now" dance, or the middle of the first episode. I think that sets up the show perfectly. Like, look at all these characters that you're going to grow to like. And I got to tell you, I like every single one of those characters in that show.
Even more than that, what the series does so well is it lets itself indulge itself in its world and its characters. In the comic, it's way more succinct, and we got X issues. We got to tell this story. But the show will let itself indulge and be silly and be whimsical in this world that's full of.
Yes. I agree with that entirely. The book is great. It's phenomenal, but the show just does such a good job of pulling you in and making you care.
Yes.
Which a comic book can do as well, and this one does it. But what a good show that is! I can't wait for season 2.
I'm so excited. I'm so unbelievably excited.
Where did we leave off?
With Kraken
just left the cops.
Going home. Yeah, he comes home, confronts Space Boy, about how he's doing nothing, and here we get into this rivalry that's ongoing about how Kraken should be number one. He should be the leader, and if Space Boy wants to be the leader, he needs to step up and do something about it. At this point, Allison's like, "Yeah, I'm gonna go look for clues." Just disappears while they're doing it.
Takes
She
off.
does find in Five's room the clue. She finds a pamphlet for the racetrack. It's like interesting.
And she also finds like this mirror thing that I don't know what it is.
I also don't know what it is.
She used it to track down Five, and Five is sitting in maybe the most uncomfortable comic book page I've ever seen. So John, you know that really famous scene where Marilyn Monroe, thing where Marilyn Monroe singing Happy Birthday to John F. Kennedy,
Mr. President,
and it's very overtly sexual.
And like right in front of his wife. Yeah, I know exactly what you're talking about.
Yeah.
The whole
So
thing, like that never sat well with me with people.
it's never sat well with anybody, John. No one likes it. People like to mock it. No one liked that thing. It was on national television too. Anyway, so that's happening. But Five is John F. Kennedy, and there's a monkey lady man thing. I don't know. They don't give a gender, but there's a monkey dressed as Marilyn Monroe singing to Five, and he goes, "Yeah, I'm important. I'm important. Yeah." And it bothers me. I'm still having dreams about it. It's
We will learn
like
in this
Franz
trade
Kafka
how
weird.
mentally messed up Five has become because of the Tom Citronalis.
Yeah.
But at this juncture, no. It's just a weird, messed up page. Boomer comes in,
Bothers me.
says she wants to know everything.
I'm just waiting for someone to turn into a giant bug and then get yelled at for not going to their work. For people who don't know, that is a Franz Kafka metamorphosis joke. That was for 3 people, but they don't listen to this podcast. So, hey.
That was pretty Kafka-esque of you.
Yeah, I try. I got Kurt Vonnegut jokes stored up in here too. I just can't remember them. So Rumor comes in and she's like, "Oh, I know everything."
Yep. And it cuts to Klaus, who's in the cemetery, trying to channel, I believe, Pogo, the butler.
Yeah,
who
the one
passed
who was
in
like the British one on the show.
Yes, passed in the Apocalypse Suite, and he's at a graveyard. He's at his grave specifically with a Ouija board, trying to channel him. And he's like, "What's that? What about number 5? What happened?" Then it says crack just right across the head with a baseball bat. He is kidnapped by Hazel and Cha-Cha. But not before we learn that they got Thin Mints, Cha-Cha's favorite.
It's very cute, but it's also really scary because they're sociopaths.
That's what I love, is they're super hardcore sociopaths in ridiculously bright, colorful kitty mascot heads.
Yeah, they're great. That ends that issue, and the next issue is the 3rd issue in the trade. 1 issue before the best cover in all of comics.
Well, in my opinion, one of my favorites.
It's pretty great, dude. Matt, how much of this were you able to get through reading?
I got to the end of 4.
Okay, cool. So you're still.
Oh, okay. You got most of it.
So we just wrapped up issue 2. Issue 3 is opening with.
Here we see Seance's powers, which are a little bit different from the show. He's able to communicate through the TV with that Space Boy has fallen asleep. That Luther, Space Boy, has fallen asleep in front after going to a cookie coma. He said, "Wake up, fat idiot." He doesn't say fat idiot. He says other things I don't want to hear. And he's captured and tortured by Hazel and Cha-Cha.
Yeah, he's able to go through the TV to get to Space Boy. They destroy the TV and they put shoes on him because if he has his shoes off, that's how he's able to communicate with the dead and use his powers. With shoes on, he can't. And he's got these really, in my opinion, super cool looking shoes. But he says he wouldn't be caught dead in them. And they're beating him up. They want information on the nukes. They want the nukes. They get the nukes from Hargraves. Right?
Hargreaves.
Hargreaves. They get the nukes from Hargreaves that he had, the ones that were talked about at the beginning of the book. And
Yep.
they're like, good,
The-
now we've got these nukes.
One thing I just noticed, the case there and says "Dad's nukes do not touch."
Ha, that's funny. So
I love it. I love it so much.
So Space Boy is going to be coming to save Seance now, is what that just set up.
Yes. But before that, we get to see all about Five and his whole journey. So it's much like you saw in the show where he did travel. He ended up at the edge of the universe, which is another difference between the organization from the show to from the comic to the show. And he was then operated on and became the perfect killer. Halted his aging, augmented deteriorated form, and prepared him for training. So, yeah, he was the absolute perfect killer.
And he was sent back to kill Kennedy. He didn't kill Kennedy. Instead, he then time jumped, because he's able to do that, back into the past. But he missed it by like 30 years and fell into his 10-year-old body, and he was stuck there. So that's why he looks like he does now. He looks like a 10-year-old. And he's back in this, or what the current time is there, with his 10-year-old body, but his like 700-year-old mind, or however old he is.
And here you do see that he does know Hazelin Cha-Cha, that some were more violent than the panel shows Hazelin Cha-Cha wearing Nazi armbands.
Nazi costumes, yeah, not good.
No.
What's really messed up is because of their characters, that could be either they were sent back to Nazi Germany or they just wear that around. I would believe both of them. They scare me.
It was the same, because the Thompson Finalis, they're not really on any side. They just their whole operation is for the events of the universe to unfold as they should.
Yes.
That's what they do.
Yikes.
So whenever there's a problem, they send someone to assassinate that problem.
I don't like it. Scares me.
Yeah. When he's telling the story, he's going on a walk with, and they end up in front of a pet shop and they find a cute doggy.
Yeah, but he's like, they implanted all this knowledge in my brain, and I'm every killer. I'm the best. I'm the number one killer in the world. That's a cute dog. Like just hard cut in tone to that's a very cute dog, and it is a very cute dog.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely.
And
but
the thing I didn't. Go ahead.
I was just gonna say the last bit of super pertinent information is that they made him every killer.
Yeah. And we debated this last week. There's two interpretations of this. Both seem accurate and both seem like they could be right. It's either he was like they put him in the timeline as every killer, or they
like,
put all
like
those
Winter
killers,
Soldier.
like they put all those killers like personalities and like thoughts into him, and either one makes perfect sense. Either way, it's terrifying.
Mm-hmm. And again, the series and its juxtaposition, it's a cute little 10-year-old boy.
Yes. The other thing that's interesting here is this dog. I mentioned this last week, and I want to have it on record just in case it ever comes up. I want this dog to not be a real dog. They never show you the full dog. They show you most of it at some. But I was just like, how funny would that be if this dog was like a dog that the bottom half is like octopus tentacles? So I just want that on the record that I think it'd be super funny if this wasn't like a purebred dog and it had like some kind of powers to it at some
Be
point.
very on brand. Yeah, because here you see everything but the hind legs. You see the tail.
Mm-hmm. And at one point in the restaurant in a second here, you just see like most of it, but like there's definitely some out of the picture. So you never know. You never know. And I'm going to hold out hope. It is noted for anybody who's worried, the dog lives through the entire comic. It doesn't get hurt, doesn't die.
Yeah, and rereading this for last, I was like, I don't remember the dog lives. I haven't read this book since it came out.
I want to put that out there. The dog is fine the entire book.
Yes.
There are people who really care about that. I'm one of them. The dog is fine. So the Rumor and Five go to a restaurant and talk about it, and she's like, I think you're full of it. He's like, no, seriously, my boss was like this type of goldfish. Blah, 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 blah. Actually, all right, I lied about the goldfish. And then out of nowhere, a man with the head of his head is a goldfish tank walks over and he's like, yes, I am this kind of fish. You said this kind of, and I imagine he talks like Bane. He's got a top hat on and a long coat.
We'll find out in season 2.
Right? And he's like, I'm here to recruit the two of you. And they're like, why? And he goes, because I have a gun to the head of Five's mother 2 days before he and his twin are born. And you're like, what? His twin?
That's the only mother who had 2 children on that day. So.
And you're like, oh my God, is it Rumor? Are they going to kill Rumor and Five? And so Five and Rumor are like, we're in. We'll do it.
Space Boy tries to attempt to rescue Klaus. And it doesn't work so well.
It does not.
It does not. Hazel shocks, not electrocutes, shocks with a cattle prod, I believe.
Looks like it.
Yeah, the whole thing. And we immediately hard cut to heaven, where because Seance is dead, and we meet this book's god, which is a cowboy.
Dylan.
An old cowboy.
Matt.
Yeah.
This looks just like Bob Dylan, right? I'm not crazy.
Yeah, I can see it.
Dope. But
Yeah.
I think he talks like Sam. Oh my God. What's his name?
I read it like John Wayne.
John Wayne works, but the who's that guy? Sam.
I know who you're
Something.
talking
He's
about
like,
with the really deep voice who was in the commercial with
I'll
Lil
do
Nas.
it. He's like, he is a cowboy.
Yes.
It's not Rockwell. That's all I know.
No, I love Sam Rockwell though. I'm gonna look it up while you're doing the thing. While you're talking about this game with God.
And we do get a very similar exchange in the show. Only in that show, instead of being the Wild West, where it's just black lines on a white page.
Mhm.
It's like a garden, and it's in black and white, which is an action. But yeah. So he's like, listen,
John is Sam Elliott.
Sam Elliott. Yes.
Yes, of course. Samuel Elliott.
He's like, listen, who are you supposed to be? Just stares at him. Well, I'm agnostic, so. and God's like, I don't really want you here, and I don't think the other guy's going to want you there. So let me give you a bit of wisdom.
This is the worst.
It's always a longer walk to the men's room, Buckaroo.
Which is the dumbest thing I've ever heard.
A panel of Klaus just sitting there. Then, what am I supposed to do with this?
What does that mean?
It's not paid off in this book.
No. Yeah, I have no idea what that means. And then he gets sent back to Earth, and he possesses. Hazel and Cha-Cha are like, yeah, let's blow up the world, yeah. And they click the detonator, and they're like, all right, nothing's happening. Cool. Must be a timer. That's cool. Hey, want something crazy? And Cha-Cha shoots Hazel in the head. And he goes, I'm also an idiot. Then he shoots himself in the head. And it turns out that Seance, Klaus had taken over, had possessed their bodies. He's alive again. And Agnes had actually taken off the shoes because, he said he didn't want to be caught dead in those. And she's a nice lady.
She's a very nice lady. That does track.
He took over the bodies and Space Boy's like, hey, so what about the bomb? He goes, oh, no, I disabled that. I knew this guy. I knew a nuclear physicist. All
from
good.
like 1918. He, funny enough, blew himself up. Isn't that weird? But yeah.
That's crazy. So
This, the fourth issue, by the way, we alluded to it earlier, is one of my favorite covers in all of comics. It is just Rumor with the notepad up, covering like half her face. It says, this is the cover to the fourth issue.
It's pretty great.
I love it. It's wonderful. It's great.
So, John, what happens in the fourth issue?
Kraken discovers that the televators are broken. He's trying to get to 5. The corporate takeover we're not going to address whatsoever is in here.
Yep.
And then Rumor and 5 are taken to the office at the end of time, the headquarters for the organization. And it's them in the front row of an auditorium with a ton of the temps, as we call them, are there as well. And Carmichael, the goldfish boss, is, listen, this is our target. This is number 5, and it shows the old man 5. He is the most dangerous person ever, period. This is what we have to do.
All of you.
Now listen, what do we always say? It simply must be done. This is what they chant.
Yeah.
Which is ridiculous. Don't ask questions, just do the thing.
Just do
Right.
it. Just do the thing.
Okay, so this is going to be very careful. I'm sure many of you will die. And I'm going to show you the leader of this operation, number 5.
And they all whip out
He goes,
their
gentlemen,
guns.
yeah, everyone pulls out their guns. He goes, cute. If I wanted you dead, you'd be dead. So, I have a brilliant plan. I just need your surgeons. Then it cuts back to the Umbrella Academy, where Klaus is digging a grave to grab one of the temps and their time travel device. Uses it to send them back to the 60s, just in time for the nuke to go off and destroy the world.
So it wasn't quite what he thought. It didn't work.
Yep. Which makes sense given that the friend from 1918 blew themselves up.
Yes.
Issue 5. Can't say number 5 in this book. Issue 5
Yes.
opens in 63 in Vietnam.
Yes. And so they
Long
went
and
back
short
and
of this, yeah, they're in the struggle, but again, throwing fantastic and sweet elements into history with this series. They're fighting the VCVs, or the Viet Cong vampires.
Which
Love it.
So the thing I like about this book is it takes like real things that happen and it doesn't trivialize them, but just adds a little bit of weirdness to it, like Viet Cong vampires and a giant mummy.
That they're transporting from A to B because it will turn the tide of the war.
Yeah.
I love it. I love it so much. Like, nowhere else would you see.
Right.
And by them in the past, Klaus, it is Diego, it is Spaceboy. They have successfully went back. The mummy comes to life. Spaceboy comes out of absolute nowhere, punches it. Diego shoots it. It goes down. It's great. And then Klaus is there with a child, like a tiny little baby.
Yep. His baby.
He turns out time travel is hard, and he got it just a little off. So they arrived many months before they planned on, as well as halfway around the world in Vietnam.
Yep.
Because they were trying to get to Dallas.
And they did it.
They just a little off in every way.
So Spaceboy, you don't see Spaceboy at this point. And they're fighting this giant mummy for reasons in the plot. And he comes out of nowhere and helps destroy the mummy. They're like, oh, hey, you're back. And he's got like this really long white hair and white beard like God does in the Sistine Chapel Creation of Man painting.
Mm-hmm.
And he's like, yeah, you know, I could have gotten a job in Dallas. Worked for a few years, but I stayed in the jungle. And it's definitely like a metaphor, like a very, very simple metaphor. He doesn't deal with his mental health very well.
No.
And it is what it is.
It's almost like doing nothing but eating cookies and watching TV is not a stable way to deal with any issue.
Okay, I feel personally attacked.
You sometimes there's cake, like ice cream, you mix it up.
That's true.
You can't just have cookies, that's my point.
He's
Too many
absolutely
results.
right. You need variety.
You gotta mix it up. Mental health is funny, right? Next week on Talking Mental Health, we are going to be eating Famous Amos cookies.
Nice. I like
So
that.
shout out to Famous Amos. So they then Klaus is like, hey guys, come with me to whatever the big city in Vietnam is. I don't know, maybe it is Vietnam. Vietnam a country or a city?
It's a country. Vietnam is a country.
Dope. Love geometry. So they go to like this big strip club that he made, and they're like, yeah, we always kind of wondered about it. I didn't make the strip club so I could look at naked girls. Ew, I made it so I could work on this. And he points to the televator that he has It's Pogo. their butler best friend from the first
young Pogo.
trade. And Space Boy just about break. So Pogo was his best friend. They lived on the moon together, and like he was his only source of like humanity. And so when he sees Pogo, he like breaks down and tries to tell him how to save himself in the future. And Pogo's like, "No, stop. It's not about that. It's about the journey. And I need you to just do your best. I don't want to know why you're here. I don't know anything about the future. Just know that I love you." And I was like, "Oh, this is so
It's so sad. Sad. So parallel also in 1963, we have there's an ambulance, and in the back of it is a bunch of temps and a bunch of other temps, but they're dressed up like agents with weird masks on as well that cover their whole head, but they're made to look like people. He goes, "Cool. Team 1, the red team, the temps. You're going to go in there. You're going to die. Team 2, we're going to go to the depository."
Team 1 is it's just like
you're wave 1. You're going to go in. You're going to die. Team 2. It's great.
They're walking
So
targets. I love it so much.
You do see, and he's like, and Penny Crumb stays in the ambulance with the white team, and he eats only soft food. It's a cute puppy.
I love
It's
it
adorable.
so freaking much. Mr. Pennycrumb, by the way, Mr. Pennycrumb.
Of
He
course,
earned that title. He went to school.
it simply must be done. And they begin the operation.
Oh man, so funny. So the operation is to go stop old man.
Let's go kill us a president.
Kill a president, and when they're doing that, they're fighting, and he's shooting at his old, and the temps are shooting at his older self, and he's, "Why are you so stubborn?" And the old man's like, "Why don't you tell me? We're the same person." And the temps all of a sudden get new orders, and they shoot to kill Old Man 5.
Yeah, Carmichael called in new orders in the script.
The new order is just kill 5. Screw it. We can kill the president with ourselves. Yep. And so they are trying to kill 5. As they're attempting to do this, the rest of the team bursts in, with the exception of Rumor, because we don't know where Rumor is yet. And Space Boy kills the rest of them, picks up Lil Boy 5 and says, "Old Man 5, you." Old Man 5 takes out the rest of the shooters, like on the grassy knoll and stuff like that, and saves the president's life, as far as he knows.
Yep,
And then
all the potential shooters are dead. What I love about this is it plays into the conspiracy theories. I know you mentioned when we did this before that if you actually look into it, it all makes sense, and there's nothing super weird about it. But it plays into conspiracy theories and the second gunman and all that hubbub and hullabaloo by having this assassination attempt be botched and then other people be assassinated who were to kill Kennedy. It's great. Then it cuts to the car itself with Kennedy, and then
hold on, stop. So before it cuts there, they think they've won, and 5's like, you didn't save him, and Space Boy's like, "What do you mean we didn't save him?" Then it cuts to the car.
Yeah, that's why he cuts to the car. "Mr. President, I heard a rumor that the back of your head is about to explode." Bang.
And then it does. And so Rumor was dressed up like Jackie O. And then you cut to the hospital where he is pronounced dead, and the real Jackie O is there. He's like, "What do you mean? Where's my husband? What happened? She wasn't there."
Oh my God, she's in shock.
Yeah, and Rumor walks out of a nurse's station wearing a nurse's outfit and hops into the car where everyone is. And Space Boy's like, "Was that worth it? Getting your voice back? You killed the president? Is that really what?" She's like, "I didn't do this for my voice, you jerk. I did it for you." He's like, "What do you mean you did it for me?" Because I did it because they were going to kill you. You and 5 are twin brothers. And they were going to kill your mother before you were born. And you would have never been born. And I did it because I love you. And he's like, "Wow,
you idiot.
That's a lot to deal with. And I don't want to deal with it. So I'm going to leave." And they get back to the normal time. Everything looks super simple, normal. And Carmichael's like, "Yeah." The fishbowl head man's like, "Yeah, that's what we do. We don't like change things. We keep it exactly the same. But ironically, you did change things because your Earth blew up. So you're on a different Earth now, technically." So
like right after you left. So because by Kennedy being assassinated, Hargreaves never got the nukes, that never fell into Hazel and Cha-Cha's hands, that never blew up.
Buddy. Which means Hazel and Cha-Cha are still alive. That's how you get the Christmas issue.
Yep, they saved Christmas.
Space Boy, being terrible at dealing with mental health, says, I'm to the jungle. Whether that's a metaphor or real, he just leaves. And 5 kills the goldfish and eats it. And everyone goes their separate ways, and the song starts playing that isn't a real...
At least I don't think it is.
God, life sucks. We screwed it up, but we also saved everything. And everyone's sad.
Yeah, it ends with...
Rumor hugs Vanya and it appears to start to forgive her.
Ends with Klaus drinking, Rumor taking care of Vanya, and I believe Diego looking back presumably fondly about his time in the Vietnam War. It's all sad. And then it cuts back to 63 with in the current new timeline, Rumor watching TV goes, Dad, don't call me that. The president got killed. He's been shot. Really? Since when do we have a television?
Well.
Yeah. Neat.
Yeah. That's the end of the issue. Then there's a little post-credit scene where you see the guy who is a part of the corporate takeover gets punched in the face, and that's how Vanya goes out to France. It doesn't.
That's the most that I can see a relation to the whole corporate takeover plot. It truly does go nowhere. But what's cool about this is Vanya and Kraken are in a punk band in the 80s, and it's amazing. That's pretty much it.
I love this book a lot. I thought it was fantastic, dude. It was just so fun, so interesting, so dark without being like unnecessarily dark. It's got so many different themes in it. It deals with arguably one of the most famous and scoured over parts of U.S. history and tells it in a new way. The characters all make sense. It's just awesome. I'm so excited for the show, and I'm very excited to read.
Yeah, I'm going to take it upon myself to read Hotel Oblivion. The season 2 drops, just in case that they're combining half of Dallas with half of Oblivion. Because who knows?
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
We sure don't know. That's for sure. Mm-hmm. Matt, you're going to finish I think you should read the rest.
I plan.
We just went over it, but it's very good.
I plan on it. I mean, I kind of, while you guys were talking about it, kind of skimmed it really quick just to see. So technically nothing was spoiled for me.
Nice. Good.
But I enjoyed it. I very much, this is a time period, like we've said, is something that is very intriguing. And I like it when a comic or really any story can do something like that and include history. Like that's one of the reasons why I love the X-Men so much. And in the X-Men movies, the reason JFK died, Magneto wasn't fast enough to save him.
Super interesting and sad.
Super, super interesting. Obviously, it's a very sad, very tragic moment in American history. But I
just love the way this plays into all the conspiracy theorists and all the weird circumstances around this event.
Yeah,
very, very well.
Yeah, absolutely.
There's there's an afterword. Is that it? There's a bit after the book where it's just like a letter from Gerard. It's like, yeah, obviously the next logical point after Apocalypse Week was the JFK assassination. Of course, I'm not an artist. I don't understand that leap.
How is that your next logical step?
Obviously, it had to be. There's no other answer.
Yeah,
but this started life as like a one-off issue and became a whole arc. And it's wonderful and I love it.
I wish I was that creative. It's pretty freaking cool.
Yeah.
But yeah, very excited to read Hotel Oblivion. But this is the best follow-up to a big book we read since Civil War II. Just kidding, Civil War II sucks, dude. Really liked it. Big fan. But let's talk about what we're going to read next week in the outro. podcast this week, John and Matt. Fun times, good times all around. I like this book a lot. I was very excited I got to read it. Very excited we got to talk about it. I'm very excited Matt was actually on the episode to talk about it. That's cool. Mm-hmm. I like having Matt on. Matt's one of those guys. It's like, he's a cute boy. Got the second best hair on the podcast.
It doesn't really help with an audio medium, but
that's fine.
We'll let everybody.
It's not about.
Everybody else can be the judge of that.
Yeah, no, that's fine. That's fine. You'll definitely get some votes for first, but that doesn't mean you're going to win the trophy.
I meant more with the first thing you said, but
sure. The hair.
No,
what do you think?
When you called.
What do you think I meant?
Cute boy. No.
You are a cute boy. Look at this boy. You can't. It's an audio podcast. Dang it.
So you see my problem.
I'm just going to tweet out pictures of Matt on the Talking Trades Twitter. With no context. Just a bunch of pictures of Matt. No context.
Hashtag no context Matt. Lovely.
Oh my God. So next week we are reading Miles Morales, Straight Outta Brooklyn, written by Saladin Ahmed. Art is done by Javier Garron. Our colorist is David Curiel, and our letterer is VC's Corey Petit, who has been featured on the podcast quite a few times. Cover art, the first issue is Brian Stelfreeze, and every issue after that, Marco Delfonso. Big fan of Brian Stelfreeze. I have briefly read over some of this book. John, I think you're reading it as it came out. It's Miles. You can't go wrong. He's the best.
It's Miles after Secret Wars, so he's in the universe proper. This initially came out right around Stan Lee's passing. I believe the Stan Lee cover is in this trade.
Yes, that's right. Very
Which
cool.
puts it right around Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. It's kind of like a soft reintroduction of the character into the universe. It's not an origin story, but it's definitely not like most.
It's that, and the character's introduction to 616.
Yes. This is it's they do a good job of having this be like a jumping on point for a lot of people. Movie coming out, so it works out. It's not the most in-depth Miles story you're ever going to read, but it's still a very good Miles story, and it's just more Miles. There's really, like I said, you can't go wrong with more Miles.
Yeah, absolutely.
But that should do it for this week. Freeze! Get on the ground, you three.
What did I do?
You keep talking about it. It's going to be a fact, and we can't have that.
Your word will manifest. The most horrible thing to happen to cinema.
Yeah, what the French guy said. The worst thing to happen to cinema. What's cinema again?
Cinema, pictures, movies.
Oh, right. Yeah, moving pictures. That's right. I heard a rumor that if you guys keep talking about that movie, it becomes a real thing. What movie are you talking about?
You know the one. The sequel to the Captain America.
Wait, we don't talk. Oh, do you mean Civil War? Stop saying its name. It's going to be a real thing.
I heard that was the podcast this week. You can follow us on Twitter at Talking Trades. Follow Jeremy on Twitter at LizardKing27. You can find John on Twitter at Maesterlaka, Maesterlaka. And for this and other projects from Matt, please check out Facebook at Matt Spina Music. And remember, we're not experts, we're fans.